Hey, what's up guys, About here, and this morning we actually got quite a bit of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet information, and there was some creators got to play the game already, and they've basically given us information about the games. On YouTube I saw a video by a GameXplain that talks about 20 new details that they got from playing Scarlet and Violet, and that's a pretty informational video. I'm not going to be talking about it in this video, but I'll link it down below in the description if you want to see that. But yeah, a lot of important information that we got, which is really good. Um, and so basically, it talks about how this game is a true like open world game where you get to go wherever you want, whenever you want, and you can fight the gyms in any order, which is something obviously that wasn't possible in the other games because they didn't make it that way. But I'm really curious on how the levels are gonna work. Like, because they said there wasn't gonna be level scaling, which is, I mean, I'm fine with that, but I just want to know how it works because that just seems very interesting. And obviously we haven't had this before, so I'm kind of unsure on how it's gonna actually be executed in terms of development. But yeah, so open world. Pokemon has been dabbling with open world areas since Sun and Moon. So yeah, they've had certain aspects of certain games show the open world, like the wild areas, for example, right? And yeah, so navigating the world works well. So yeah, you have the mini maps. That's a newer feature, right? The newer feature in the Gen 9 games. Mini map is very helpful because you get to it basically gives you a better sense of where you are in the map, which is really important because that just kind of gives away that it's going to be a pretty big region, and you have to, like, you might get lost, so that's why they might have put that in there. I don't think you might have needed one in Sword and Shield, honestly, but I don't know. I feel like the Paldea region is going to be bigger than the Galar region, but yeah. So in terms of the catching mechanics, so yeah, so you can find Pokemon in the wild, like you can see them, right? And you can actually see the shiny Pokemon like in the overworld, which is really important because if you're a shiny hunter, then that's going to be easier for you, and you won't have to just hope and pray by running into the Pokemon or something. Um, but yeah, so wild battles. If you walk into a Pokemon, then yeah. So you can move the camera around. You can it's similar to Legends Arceus how the wild battling works, which is really cool. I really liked the way they made that in Legends Arceus. And yeah, so you aim with ZO, yeah. So similar to Pokemon Legends Arceus. So if you haven't played Legends Arceus, this might be a little bit new to you, but I don't think it's gonna take that much for you to get used to, honestly. And yeah, so you can also find Terra Pokemon in the wild, right? And these Pokemon can actually terrestrialize. Yeah, so they can terrestrialize, obviously. Leak LP. LP is leak points, which can be used to be traded for TMs, as I explained in another previous video. But yeah, so they could, yeah. So the TM machine, right? So yeah, so they have an aura around them that can be visible from far away, so that's important. And this is gonna be really good for hunting certain, like, if you're trying to like play competitive, right? So something I'm not sure about is when you breed like a Pokemon with a certain Terra type, it'll pass down. I feel like it will, but I don't know, because if, like, let's say you find a wild Terra type and you want to use that, but the IVs aren't that good, maybe you can just hyper train it or something. I'm not really sure, honestly. Obviously, we don't know a lot about these games yet, and this is just surface level information, but it's still pretty important because then it like leads to other discoveries and leads to other speculations and all that. But yeah. So, mechanics. Let's see what we got. So, for battles, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet definitely a line bar with Pokemon Sword and Shield than Pokemon Legends Arceus. Yeah. Yeah, so Legends Arceus obviously didn't have abilities and held items and all, or it had like held items, but not abilities, right? And yeah, so the battles are definitely feeling snappier and quicker in terms of, I guess, how fast like the game moves and all that. You also don't have to wait for Dynamax and all that. The Dynamax animation, which takes like a whole like freaking minute. But terrestrialization, certainly, yeah, this definitely brings a new element to the battles. Yeah, so there's a damage boost. So if you have like obviously we've have this revealed before, but like let's say you have a Magnezone terrestrializing into electric type, it's gonna get 2 times stab electric, I think. So it's really kind of hit hard, like even harder. But it's not gonna be like Dynamax where you can like get boosts from those moves, the Terra Blast or whatever. And plus Terra Blast can only be the Terra type, so you can't like have multiple Dynamax like really powerful moves of different types like Dynamax. So that's gonna definitely be better to play against, at least. But yeah, let's see. There's also the feature. Yeah, so that's that. Yeah, so there's options. You can do that, and yeah, so they're also going visually lovely, going with a similar simplistic look to Sword and Shield. Nice. Pokemon Let's Go feature was a fun thing to try out. If you're in the, oh yeah, so something you can actually do. I'm not sure if you can have multiple. I heard a leak that you could like have multiple Pokemon of yours in the overworld, but that doesn't really seem like it'll actually be like a thing. But yeah, you can still have your Pokemon in the overworld, and it can actually go out and battle other Pokemon without your like supervision, which is definitely interesting. But you can still see like their their status in this corner. So like the Pokemon you have out will be right here, right? And that's pretty important because, I mean, it can be useful for just leveling up. I don't think it's going to be good for EV training unless there's like certain spots where you can get just like a certain EV based on the Pokemon, but could be pretty useful in some situations probably. And obviously, yeah. So there's various places throughout the game where you can change your player's appearance. So, and that was actually talked about in here in the GameXplain video. But yeah, so multiplayer ready, right? Following the single player portion, they have multiplayer features, so you can obviously play with other people. That's actually amazing. I'm really excited to test out that feature. And you can also see their picnic and stuff. And yeah, so Terra raid battles, right? We talked about this a couple times, right? And so they're faster, but in a way that works with the battle system. It's still it's turn-based. That's important. I thought it wasn't because of the timer. I didn't know how it's gonna work, but you don't need to wait for other players to make their move. Oh, okay. So it is different than max raid battles. That's good. That's actually really important. So it encourages you to actually be like interacting with the game like in a fast enough rate. And like in Sword and Shield, if someone like takes too long, then it just won't work properly. Because I mean, hold on, let me bring up another song here. But yeah, so they won't be taking too long because of the timer, obviously, and everyone's forced to actually play the game, you know. But yeah, so let's see. Unlike max raid battles, there are no shields to slow the battle down. Okay, there was an element partway through the battle which adds a protection up. Okay, so there is still protection. Okay, so that's similar to you Dynamaxing your Pokemon to taking out the shield faster. All Pokemon can actually terrestrialize. Wow. So if they're giving us multiple moves to hit the opposing Pokemon first, so that means they're gonna be really difficult then. That's gonna be very interesting because like if that's their way of balancing it out, that means it's not gonna be an easy paddle, and at least certain Pokemon. That's what I'm thinking. If all the Pokemon are knocked out or the time limit runs out, you will lose. Yep. They actually lost their first raid battle in testing. That's hilarious. But yeah, I'm pretty happy that there's some difficulty. Like, obviously max raid battles were somewhat difficult, but I feel like Terra raid battles are kind of provide a real challenge, you know? But yeah, that's all I have to say. We definitely got a lot of good information. I'll update y'all with more information as it comes out, if it's important and stuff. But yeah, I'll see you guys later.